Now, ever since the SNL 50th anniversary took place and how it did in fact involve Tom Hanks portraying a Trump supporter that truly backfired not just on his career by losing millions upon millions of fans, but also NBC. They actually had to deal with a lot of backlash. They had to cancel a lot of skits that Tom Hanks was going to participate in that was going to actually demonstrate or portray different types of Trump supporters, and also other political comedy skits that also got axed by SNL's Lorne Michaels, how he wanted nothing to do with Tom Hanks in those skits any further. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, we already know that Warner Brothers made a swift move by firing Tom Hanks for a specific movie where he was going to portray a fictional president. We already talked about this a couple of days ago about how WB's CEO David Zaslav is continuing to basically disconnect from a lot of these actors and actresses that get way too involved in politics, that get way too involved in activism, and so on and so forth. But what's interesting about Tom Hanks is that he continues to go into damage control mode and double down mode when it comes to his overall stance on comedy, when it comes to his overall view of the critics toward SNL, toward himself. And I believe to this very day, the last time I checked was, yesterday, that his comments are still disabled on his Instagram account. That's how large the backlash truly is. He can say it's a minority all he wants, but it truly is a majority of American citizens that have, of course, been very much offended by what he did on SNL. But let's get into this, shall we? Now, specifically, alright, to top things off here, ever since the SNL 50th anniversary took place featuring Tom Hanks portraying a Trump supporter and how that backfired on his career from the massive backlash and how he was also fired from WB for a major film project, one major development going on now involves how Tom Hanks responded after getting fired from WB. Hanks delivered the following. What I think is so wrong in this business is how we are beginning to witness cancel culture hitting a new high because of this new presidency. I know many actors that are dealing with the same situation as I am. It's 2025 now, and seemingly comedy is more difficult to deliver than we all thought after what we tried to accomplish on SNL. You see, cancel culture just can't be one-sided. The problem with this presidency and how it's encouraging so many citizens to engage in cancel culture toward Democrats, I think is the greatest problem that we face today. I don't believe any actor should be ridiculed for exposing the truth of how many Americans act or how many Trumpers are in this country. It's something that I think needed to be said through the wonderful form of comedy, and well, it just didn't work out for us in the long run, sadly. That's the truth. And there are some things that aren't working out so well for me that I refuse to comment on at the moment. But we need to focus on the reality of the situation and how our own citizens just are getting the wrong message from this presidency. I think that MAGA needs to do better, and they need a sense of humor, because they sure know that there are many Trump supporters out there that act like what we demonstrated in our comedy bit that we did on SNL. And I just think comedy needs to be transformative. It needs to adapt or evolve to the times, especially now that in 2025, you need a sense of humor during these very difficult years that we have ahead of us. We did absolutely nothing wrong on SNL. Nothing. I repeat, nothing. No matter what anyone else wants to say, I just can't agree with the critics. We need to focus less on cancel culture because it ruins the lives of hardworking actors that sacrifice so much to provide entertainment to the people. Now, guys, before I move on, it's people like Tom Hanks, Robert De Niro, Alec Baldwin that said something very similar about how they sacrifice so many, aspects of their lives to bring entertainment to the masses, to bring entertainment to the public, right? And I think it's just nothing more than playing a victim card at this point. They really try to come across as that. And Tom Hanks, look, he's basically confirming without really kind of doing it in a very direct way, or at least he's trying not to do so. But he's basically confirming that, yes, there was an agenda there on SNL. They wanted to expose, what they believe MAGA is all about. And what they did on SNL, I've said this plenty of times, I think it really came from a terrible place. I think it truly did offend a lot of people for valid reasons. People have a right to feel offended over what Tom Hanks did. And I felt the same exact way. To be very direct with you all, I felt the same exact way, that this really was coming from a very bad place, and all the damage control that they're doing is very disingenuous. Tom Hanks, Lorne Michaels, the executives over at SNL, no matter what they do, no matter all of the skits that they canceled that Tom Hanks was supposed to participate in, it does not make up for what they did on the 50th anniversary. Alright, that's exactly why Tom Hanks still has his Instagram account disabled when it comes to comments on there. And that's exactly why it is the biggest, unveil there, that he really does know what's going on. Now, moving on forward, he goes on to continue, it's time that we move past this era that is long overdue to expire and end already, where if one makes a simple opinion into the form of comedy, one gets shut out. It's not right, and it's something I won't stay silent about. We need to do better. American citizens need to do better. I firmly believe that comedy needs to hold no boundaries again, even if it offends people. Now look guys, that's one thing that Tom Hanks may have a little bit of a point on, even though I am a major critic of Tom Hanks. Sure, comedy needs to go back to its roots, where you didn't really have all these boundaries, you didn't really have anything to worry about by offending people. It's one thing there, but it's another thing for Tom Hanks to defend something that is obviously an agenda. It's obviously something that is nothing more than messaging disguised as comedy. Two totally different things, and he's trying to create this argument that's just not valid. So he goes on to continue, I firmly believe that comedy needs to hold no boundaries like that again. Look, we had to expose certain truths of what was going on with MAGA, but we knew going in that we had to do that with a lightened mood through the usage of comedy. As an actor, I am appalled that so many did not understand what we were going for. It's unfair and it's uncalled for. It's a type of response that I think, quite frankly, is just very one-sided and unfair to actors like myself who really want to shed light on the truth of what's going on. So you have actors like Tom Hanks saying things about how things shouldn't be so one-sided. Well, SNL tends to be very one-sided. They tend to only, poke fun at or attack one side of the country, and we all know that SNL really tried to do the opposite, and it just didn't really work for them in the long run, and they still have a very big ratio where they actually go after one side way more than the other. So there's an obvious agenda by NBC, by the showrunners handling SNL, including Lorne Michaels, the executive producer over there, and why he's getting a lot of backlash, a lot of flack as we speak, and rightfully so, by the way. But again, I think that Tom Hanks, after what happened at WB, as we talked about a couple of days ago, how he was supposed to portray a fictional president in an upcoming WB movie that's still set to debut in 2027. They're going to recast that role after ditching Tom Hanks. And look, I think it would have only been a major mistake by David Zaslav if he kept Tom Hanks on board. But let's face the facts here, nobody wants to watch a movie like that anyway. You can recast all you want. I don't think it's going to do well in 2027. And honestly, I think that there's an agenda there as well for things to come in 2028. I think WB is up to something, but we'll have to wait and see. But overall, I would love to hear what everyone has to say about Tom Hanks, about SNL, about the whole Warner Brothers situation that we went over about 2 days ago. If you guys want to go ahead and check that out. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.